Okay. Let's try this again, shall we? Hopefully, that is a bit better. Hopefully, having turned off those uploads that I was trying to do, hopefully that is actually doing much better. Okay. Maybe, just maybe, hopefully, it is now working. Let me know. There we go. We're at least working. Hopefully taking some pressure off of my system though, so hopefully you can see me a bit better now. Hopefully it all makes sense now. Let me know. Okay. Hopefully we got that up and running, working a bit better. That should help though, taking a bit of pressure off of my internet. Always helps if you're not trying to upload a ridiculous amount of files. So I think I figured out what the problem was, and it was definitely a me problem. But yeah, so we have been working on the hells. Putting some mist in for these waterfalls that are all along this. That pink line, for anyone who is watching along, will eventually not be there. So. Got some chill hop music on as well. But if you prefer the game style music from game shops, let me know. I'm happy to change over. Yeah, I feel like in today's world, with the internet and everything like that, it can be hard to get reliable internet sometimes. Well, especially when Sydney is going through a lot of flooding and things like this. Okay. should have fixed up most of the stuff. Thanks, Choose Your Role. It's wonderful to have you here. Feel free to lurk away. We are just building a mirrored version of the Hells. So we're currently building the Circles of Hell. That is absolutely fine. Thank you anyway for just the lurk. It is greatly appreciated. I hope your session goes well. Thank you. I hope your session goes well. May all your roles be good ones. Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. Yes, this is Incarnate. It is a browser-based map software. It has both a subscription-based pro capability, but it also has a free membership as well if you want to just give it a go, basically. It is, if I think about this, putting this in the chat for you. There we go. But yes, they do have a very reasonable price point for your pro subscription as well, and it allows everything. I'll give you a quick look. If I take out the catalog here, it has all different kinds. That's usually what it comes to. I'm just starting with the really big wide scale, but as you can see, it's got all these assets. So you can big world build, you can town build, you can map build as well, various things. As you can see, battle maps, regional, world map, a lot of really, really cool stuff. This is actually one piece of 4. So this is the Feywilds map, the Material Plane map, and the Hells map. And the only reason I'm committing to doing all 3 of these maps is because within my particular setting, they are mirrored over. Actually, it's really funny you say that because it is actually Yggdrasil, and if you know the myth of Yggdrasil, they do actually have a giant squirrel named Ratatoskr, which I am not Scandinavian, so if I completely butchered that, I do apologise. But yes, there was a giant squirrel named Ratatoskr that did traverse the trunk of Yggdrasil. Yes. Nidhauger is the serpent under the tree. He guards the way. To mix my mythologies here, he does guard the way to the Hells. The Hells, Hades, the Underworld, and Tartarus, which is indeed under the roots of the World Tree, and he gnaws at the roots of the World Tree. And of course, he is a giant Linorm, which is a proto-dragon, basically. I do mix a lot of my mythologies in my particular setting, so... Ooh, promising a giant deity a body. That is a bold move, Cotton. I usually stream the map building stream on Monday mornings. I say mornings for me because I am Australian. I usually stream it Monday morning / early afternoon, Wednesday morning, early afternoon, once a fortnight. Otherwise, I also stream on Wednesday nights, also once a fortnight. But on the mornings that I stream on Wednesday, thank you, Choose Your Role, for following. Oh yeah, love my American followers, love my American players too. I do have some American players. They are the craziest of sorts because obviously we do play our games on during the evenings in Australia, or at least I do, and it means that my American players are getting up at like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and they are greatly appreciated. I may be able to make it depending on what time I am up doing my own work, so I will have to stop on by, definitely, to pay it forward. Got to turn down that opacity. Oh, that's awesome. I'll have to search you out then because I would love to see your stream. always love seeing other people's work, because that is where you get some of your best ideas. Because this is a giant collaborative game, obviously. But yes, I do mix my mythologies around. Players who do that kind of stuff are an absolute godsend. They are a saint. Thank you, Pastor Parade. It's wonderful having you here. That's your personal. I did wonder about that. Yeah, so I usually start off with my world map. As you can see, I've already done a quarter of it that I'm slowly working my way through. So yeah, it has been a work in progress over the last few months. The first quarter is always the hardest because I'm still trying to decide colours, what I want to do, and obviously I do make a lot of notes on the assets that I use as I go, so that I can at least emulate that throughout all of the maps that I do. So I wish. I'm kind of trying my hand at the basics of animation as well. Don't forget to save. In the next few weeks I should have a trailer up for this game, actually. This game will be starting in February after my Christmas break. It is called The State of Anarchy, and it is taking place in the 4th era of the world. This world I have been running consecutively for about 6 years now. From different stories, telling different stories, different adventurers in the world. We started off with the Realm Witches. We moved our way into following a Necronomicon storyline, following the War of the gods, basically, that happened in the 1st era of the world. So that happened, and the Necronomicon was a way for the Titan King to try and regain hold of the material plane, and he was obviously stopped by the players. Then we have a group currently going through in my Tuesday session. I have a vague calendar. I have the months. I have the days of the week. It is an 8-day week in my world. Earth Day, Air Day, Water's Day, Fire's Day, Dark's Day, Night's Day, Moon's Day and Sun's Day. So I think that's 8. Which is based around the draconic gods that created this world. I have a whole heap of lore about the proto-deities of the world that did... so the Tuesday game that we're running... Yeah. My current Tuesday party is actually traversing the 1st era of the world, playing a game of... being involved in a game of Zorvental with the eldritch gods of the world, who are the essentially proto-deities, but the actual world itself was created by the draconic elemental gods. There was a point where I was running like 4 games a week, and that was insanity. I do not around trying to do other trying to do just other in real life things like jobs and things like this. It is insanity. I don't take notes myself personally, and I have been pretty open about this. I usually this is the first game, the game that I'm designing right now, that I will actually be streaming. Normally I do record my sessions, but it is just for player use just because I'm really terrible at taking notes. And not only that, it means that the players at any time that they want to can actually go back and re-watch sessions and things like that. Even with this one, I won't be running cams. I will most likely have little basic animated avatars that will kind of glow and bob as the players talk, which is an idea that I was recommended by friend and moderator of the channel, Evil One. Once a fortnight on Wednesday nights, you can find me over on Evil One's channel playing a grung in our all grung game known as Grunging, which is streaming tonight. So if I'm streaming my map building stream in the morning, I will be in Grunging that night. Otherwise, if I'm streaming at night, it's because that's the off week for Grunging. I'm also in his Star Wars game on Sunday nights over on Evil One's channel. Otherwise, I map build stream Monday, Wednesday, Saturday nights. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I stream just some Xbox games that I'm playing. At the moment, I'm playing Lost Words, and we just started Hollow Knight, but I may change that depending on how we go, basically. I had thought potentially Lost in Random, just because I'm not sure what to make of Hollow Knight at this point in time. Yes, this will be streamed on a Saturday night for me, which, if you're in America, that will be very early Saturday morning for you, I believe. Depending on where you are, it'll still be early Saturday morning, but it just depends what time. Just checking my notes for I'll just save. I'm just gonna have to jump across to my previous map to figure out what hot pink I used on those mountains. Which is always fun. So I will drop you over to Faoia, just as I have to jump across on Incarnate. So give me one moment, bear with me. Unfortunately, some of the maps are a little bit bigger, so I do have to give it time to load, basically. Yes, have fun in your session. No, that is absolutely fine. It was wonderful to have you here, Choose Your Role. The fact that you stopped by just for a little quick chat, it absolutely makes my day, so thank you. Otherwise, I just sound like a crazy person who's sitting here talking to myself. We have some pale pink mountains as well. Normally I'm a lot better at writing all of these down so that I'm not having to do this now. So thank you for bearing with me and your patience. I think I have the majority of them. They are very asset heavy maps, so the minute the assets start getting heavy, obviously Incarnate likes taking a little bit of time to think about what it's doing. So thank you for your patience. Okay, we are back to alter some mountains, basically. Now it's these ones, and if you come into the advanced settings over here, you can actually come to the filters and change the colors. So we know that the mountains are going to follow this curve, but the only ones I actually need to keep are these ones here because they match up on another map. as you'll get to see momentarily. This is going to be fun. Make it bigger so we can see. That is correct, actually. That is a very good point. Now the question is, if this doesn't come up the right colour, it means I've picked the wrong mountain. Which you can easily tell that I have, because it's not the right colour. So let us try this one instead. That's a bit more like it. See, this one still isn't right either. Because it shouldn't be green. The hard part is these mountains should be pink. We're aiming for pink. Specifically, hot pink. Just keep playing around until we find what I'm supposed to be doing, basically. I think I found it. There we go, that's what we were looking for. Yes, it was requested and voted on by my players that the mountains in this area are hot pink. Just trying to find the perfect colour for this. Because this was voted on a couple of weeks ago, that I was going to have hot pink mountains. So here we are. The other really good thing about this, about Incarnate, is it does to a certain degree intuitively like position the mountains. So like behind. Thank you, The Witch and Smith, for following. It's wonderful to have you here. Welcome, Like and the Beast. It is always wonderful to have new followers while I'm building this stream. Otherwise, I just sound like a crazy person who is sitting here talking to myself. Thank you, Choose Your Role. You are a saint. My chiropractor will thank you. Because obviously, if you do spend long hours at a desk, running D&D games, any of those kind of things, it is important to stretch and just remember your posture, basically, in general. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Yellow Bear Cat. It's wonderful to have you here. Yep, map building. I'm currently building... Thank you, The Witch and Smith. It's wonderful to have you here and your viewers too. Thank you. I really appreciate you helping me meet that. Also, JME1441. I struggled to read that then for a second, but it is wonderful having you here. Yes, I am map building for my custom D&D world. It is a game that I have been running now for about 6 years. I mean, it's a game I've been running, not a consistent game. It is basically now 4 separate games that I have run over a period of 6 years, which has led to me building essentially a small empire. Thank you, Press X, for awesome. I'm using Incarnate, which is an online browser-based map builder. It is really, really great for this kind of map building, especially fantasy map building. They don't have a lot of... oh, thank you. Yes, thank you, The Witch and Smith, for suggesting your followers. Thank you for the follow kitty spell. Yeah, it's a wonderful stream. God, I'm getting tongue-tied right now. It's a wonderful asset to use for your map building. I'll just give you a bit of a look. They have a catalogue, obviously. They do have Wonderdraft is good. They don't have a lot of sci-fi, cyberpunky kind of stuff yet in Incarnate. So if you want to build fantasy maps and things like this, it is fantastic for it. They have changed this interface recently to make it a little bit easier to find, but they have battle maps, they have regional maps, they have a lot of this isometric style map building, as well as all different kinds of bits and pieces. They have top-down stuff, so you can build your battle maps. So I'm world building in terms of building my larger maps. We have the Feywild, the Material Plane, and the Hells, which we are currently working on, which I have been building over several streams now, because in February I am hoping to run this as a streamed game, which I'm very excited about. I currently have 2 definite players, but I will be opening up in December on Roll20 to open it up for players, basically, because a game is nothing without its players, basically. Like, the DM does a level of work, but it is a collaborative story effort, in my opinion. And so I do like, obviously, to have players. And obviously, this is the first time I am thinking that I would like to actually stream my game. Schedules, yes. I've actually been pretty fortunate with this particular world. I have been playing in this world now for 6 years in various different incarnations. There are 4 eras to this world now that I've been working on over the last 6 years. So there is lore. There is a hella ton of lore to this world. Yep, lots of lore. And a lot of it, that lore and the gods and things like this, at the point it is for this will be the 4th era of the world. So, for example, the old player characters are the gods of the world, and they are responsible for a lot of what has happened in it. Not everything is homebrewed. I do still use D&D 5th edition rules and things like that. But I do kind of run it very... I do run the rule of cool. I do run the rule of cool. I also, because I do still want to make things fun for my players and give them the option to play crazy ass things. So this is probably going to be the entire setting itself is a custom setting. And as time has gone on, I have added more and more to it, to the point now that this particular game will end up having a wide variety of subspecies. No, I'm not a forever DM. I actually play. So the reason I'm streaming my map building stream now is because when I stream the Wednesday map building stream, it means that I'm actually playing over on my friend Evil One's channel. No, thank you for the lurk. It is appreciated, the Witch and Smith. Thank you. They're not really crystal mountains. They kind of are. We actually had a vote a few streams ago on what color. This is actually the hells, which there are the circles of hell. The whole concept is after the 3rd era of the world, which the players followed the Necronomicon to basically prevent... Yes, that was the point. Basically the players in the 3rd era followed the Necronomicon to stop an entity known as the Titan King from rising. And in doing so, and following the Necronomicon and the eldritch creatures that they had to summon within to basically stop him, it did lead to the world merging. And so the circles of hell. So the circles of hell in my particular setting, we have purgatory, and they are named after the sins. So purgatory, lust, gluttony, greed, wrath, sloth, envy, pride, and then in the middle we have treachery. Just so we've still got the 9 circles. And so these mountains here that start to verge into the circle of gluttony, yes, they are edible. They are ice cream. They are hot pink. Because that is what my followers decided that they wanted the mountains to be. Which, of course, I do actually encourage participation to name things. I am going to be naming a lot of these towns. Obviously, there are a lot of low-level adult kind of jokes as well. Not too bad, but we do have the butt heels and things like this. Because some of the heels in this place that the incarnate creates does end up looking like a butt or a person laying face down. So, yes. So the circles of hell, eventually they will circle all the way down to make the circles, and I'm having them drop down until eventually we get into the middle where treachery is, where there is the broken gate to Tartarus, which was indeed destroyed by the group that essentially came through here and stopped the Titan King from rising. So now we're in this part of the world. It did pull the Hells, the material plane, and the Feywild over each other. They're all on the material plane, but they are mirrored over each other. It is a concept that I did. Yes. The town that is actually isolated in that, they look happy. They're not particularly happy, but because of everything that's happened in the world up to this point, the Hells is, while it is still demonic, it is a very lawful plane of existence. A lot of the Asimar now come from this plane of existence, this part of the world. There will be a lot of player choice when it comes to playable species, because I am a DM that still adheres to the racial attributes, basically, but in countering that, I have made it so that, for example, we will be starting in the Feywild, and all of the species are considered Fey. So the Aarakocra aren't just going to be your classic eagle-based Aarakocra. Nope. I have gone through and through the help of third-party homebrew and things like this, we have a variety of subspecies of Aarakocra. So we have like the cassowary, the ibis, the parrot, the peacock, the penguin Aarakocra, and all of them have different attributes depending on what subspecies they are. The humans of the area have very set things, and because obviously the humans from this part of the world, so the Feywild is known as Feawir in this particular setting. So here we are. There is even a like little candy area down on the right-hand side of the map. But Feawirian humans, there will be Feawirian humans. There is Anthalamirian humans, which are your material plane. And then there will be Nethraeg humans as well. Yes. Like I said, I've been playing in this world now for 6 years. It originally, when I started, it was I didn't know it at the time, but so the game itself started in the what is now known as the second era of the world. Then an event known as the Starfall happened, which led to the third era of the world, which was the events where the Necronomicon and that stuff kind of happened. I have a group currently now playing through the first era of the world, basing it around the old Eldritch Linorm gods, and they're playing a game of Zorvental, so heavy intrigue in that one. And this one will be what happened after the merge, basically. It's 1,000 years post-merge. So the material plane, the Hells, and the Feywild are all mirrored over each other as separate planes of existence, but all on the material plane. So there will be like little shifts that they can be. But the material plane itself has been taken over by, in the wake of the government being overthrown, it has been taken over by evil witch queens who are very tyrannical and have grown tyrannical over time. So this is why we will be starting in the Feywild, because it's a great way to start a Feywild setting. And yeah, so not only do they have, things like the Aarakocran sub-races and subspecies, it is a... I did get inspiration from one of my favourite book series by Anne Bishop, the Black Jewels trilogy. So if you are familiar with that work, that is where you will get those kind of links from. I do take a lot of inspiration from real world mythos, all over the world mythos, just because I find some of our real world mythos really, really, really cool. And I do want to pay homage to that because, yeah, there are some great stories. And a lot of the time then it means that my stories will be the big epic world kind of adventures where I don't expect my players to be heroes if they don't want to be heroes. They don't have to be good. They don't have to be evil, but they do have to have an aligned goal. The only kind of alignments I do find don't necessarily work well with others is a group with a chaotic evil or a lawful good. Because they can be very hardline, obviously. But in general, alignment in my world is a guideline anyway. There are a lot of grey kind of entities, if that makes sense. And because they're starting in the Feywild, I wanted to give them, going back to that original comment, I wanted to give them more Fey races to play. So I do have lists of the playable species for the Feywild, which some of them are pretty standard. Some of them I am bringing back some old 3.5 species, but also from various third-party sources such as Insider and things like this. I also have allowed some races from Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting. I've allowed races from the Corpus Malicious and the Corpus Angelus, which are Kickstarters that I've followed. So, for example, a player can play like a Dullahan, so your Headless Horseman. We also have the Corcade, which is a dog race of people. Yeah, exactly. And the reason I kind of came about that idea, press X for awesome, is and the why I run a lot of my alignments this way is because I've had a lot of run-ins with lawful good characters. You can't see me doing the air quotes. Lawful good characters who kind of end up playing what I like to deem as lawful stupid. Like, lawful good can be almost as big a villain as your chaotic evil, purely based on the fact that they're like, well, I have to follow the law. So if you have a rogue in the party, all of a sudden, I have played with a player before who's like, oh, my character's lawful good, so and she used to work for the town guard, so we've just come into town. She would totally go alert the town guard that there are potential criminals in the area, just so that if something happens, they won't suspect you. And the player who was playing the rogue at that time, and myself, I was playing essentially an outlawed magician. We're like, why would you do that? Why would you legitimately tell these people that we're in town, but not only that we're in town, that we're illegals? Oh, but yeah, because we've been honest and told them about it, they won't suspect us. And we're like, have you not heard of profiling? Like, geez. And so I have had things and like that, but also as a general rule, the bad guys I do tend to play a lot of the time, at least, your rational bad guys, they are also kind of grey characters in the way that they kind of are doing things. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, yeah, lawful stupid, not lawful good. And I've had enough interactions with that I'm like, yeah, alignments are kind of a guideline. And I kind of have a little bit of that opinion of the rules too, that they're kind of guidelines. You know, while I do agree that it is important to have rules for D&D, because that's obviously, it's still a dice rolling game, and a game like that, I want my players to be able to kind of still try something cool. Yeah, it's more like a guideline. Just bear with me 1 minute. Sorry, I just had to let my dog out. He wanted to be let outside, so... yeah, no, I want my players to be able to try cool stuff. And as a result of this is how my characters, some of my player characters have done things like create C4. The actual setting itself, once we come into play in February, so the Feywild, because we're 4 eras in and it's some 60,000, the lore is over 60,000 years in game, the setting will be slightly technically advanced. The Feywild will have a kind of steampunky kind of setting, whereas the material plane will be a bit more cyberpunky. Yes. They did manage to fabricate plastic explosives. I have been looking into different styles of weapons as well. So, for example, this setting, there may be a light sword which is powered by crystals. Oh, yeah, the level of stuff that the previous party did in this world was, on one hand, great. On the other hand, terrifying. More like lightsabers, but to be honest, I will probably just call them lightsabers. Let's be honest. Oh, there you go. I see, I didn't know that. There you go. But yeah, so I've been looking at different weapons because I'm like, well, can I really, especially since the material plane in the previous, so the third era of the world, they were a lot more technologically advanced. So can I really in good conscience put a whole heap of Feywild people who use bow and arrows against them? Now, don't get me wrong, I am aware that there are some bow and arrow wielders who are very good at what they do, basically. And they are very fast. It is possible to be very fast. And I'm all for this, obviously. But obviously I want it to be a level playing field too. So, well, that's exactly it. But most of the bows, because I'm recalling a lot of this off the top of my head, a lot of the bows are just going to be straight up compound bows. Obviously melee weapons are going to be melee weapons. However, is that too harsh? Yes, no, that is too harsh. I don't like that. Yeah, I want them to be able to try some really, really cool stuff, basically. No, that's almost dirty. We'll stick with that. I think that's the closest. That's a texture. Sand, so let's go with the sand texture. I think that might actually be it. Well, thank you, Press X for Awesome, for being here. You can find down below in my schedule exactly when I'm streaming and things like this. I do stream longer streams on what is my Wednesday and Saturday night. Wednesday is only once a fortnight though. But yes, so I do stream longer streams on those nights. However, you can meet me around this time on a Monday or a Wednesday morning once a fortnight. So, but if you like what I do, you can actually catch me over on Evil One's channel as a player in Grungang in a Star Wars game, which is a fantasy flight setting. I believe we are starting up a Power Rangers game over there in the next few weeks, I believe. So yeah, I recommend you check out Evil One's channel as well, because they are a hilarious DM if you like kind of pop culture-y kind of stuff. So yeah, I could do all this fancy stuff, JME. Yeah, I could do all this fancy stuff, or I could cave your skull in with a brick. Pretty much. That's a bit better. No, I am in Australia, South Australia specifically. It's currently about 1 p.m. in the afternoon, roughly, give or take. So, yes, it is currently 1 p.m. We in Australia have a funky, weird-ass time setting, especially at the moment. So I usually just give the Sydney time zone, basically, that my streams usually start at. Yeah. So it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon for me. So if I'm streaming at night, it'll usually be around 8 p.m. for me, which, depending on where you are in the US, can be anywhere between 3 to 5 a.m., I believe. So, but otherwise, I do stream on here. I do stream some Xbox games on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, but if you ever wonder why I'm not streaming, and my schedule says that I usually should be, you can actually follow me at my Twitter as well, because I do try, to the best of my ability, update on there if for whatever reason I'm unable to make a stream. I try to anyway. And yes, so this game, when it does eventually launch, will be played between... It'll start at 7:30 my time. Oh, thank you. Yes, I have had an entire life of building my Australian accent, but I do have a South Australian accent, which is a slightly cultivated Australian accent, so there is a little bit more Britishness to it, if you ever wondered. So yeah. So I do, when I stream some of the games that I play, my Xbox games, if it does have reading, you will potentially hear me reading in various accents. Because obviously as a DM we like doing voices, funny voices, which of course is not a requirement to DM. Just, if you enjoy doing it, go for it, try it. What's the worst that's going to happen? Always remember to save. I'm really bad at saving, you'll quickly discover. So, if for whatever reason as well, if you miss any of my streams or you want to catch up or just go back and watch something because you found it really interesting, you can. I do upload all of these streams to my YouTube channel, which is of the same name, Boomeadow. So you can find those over there, or any of the streams that you want to see more of or whatnot. I've just finished playing Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. I've started Hollow Knight yesterday, but I'm not sure if I'm going to continue with it. We'll see. Just because anyone who watches me will quickly discover, I'm trying Xbox games just to give them a go, because I haven't really been much of a gamer on that style. But also there are some really wonderful stories out there. You'll quickly discover that I'm a very heavy story-based DM, obviously. I really like the collaborative way that D&D is played, because, yeah, even though I've created the world, I would prefer that my players come into my world, and their characters, you know, are living, breathing people. I once had a player turn around to me and say, well, like, my character's not a hero, why would they want to be a hero? And I'm like, well, your character doesn't technically have to be a hero per se, but your character should want to save the world because they live in it. You know, it's okay and fine. I don't put this huge emphasis on, hey, heroes are amazing. There is also obviously the element of being a hero that, you know, a lot of heroes very quickly realize, which is, yeah, it's great to be the hero and people love you for saving the world and things like this. But the fact is, it is rarely fun being the hero, because the heroes are the ones who have to deal with the loss. They have to deal with the, you know, dealing the killing blow and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's not always easy to be the hero. And that's part of the story that, you know, I enjoy telling with the players I play with, is like, not so much, you know, the heavy trauma of D&D, which I think, let's be honest, all of our characters at some point have that heavy level of trauma because it's compelling. I think I saw that in a TikTok the other day that, yeah, our stories don't always have to have trauma and things like that in them, but those stories are the compelling ones to tell, you know? And, you know, the way that I like portraying that with my players is I like getting to know my player characters. When somebody is accepted into my game, I don't expect like pages and pages of backstory. You know, a couple paragraphs will do, short paragraphs or whatever. But I do also give them, it is essentially, they have joked about this, players that I have played with, it is essentially a 40 question quiz. And it starts off really basic, like, you know, how do you pronounce your character's name, physical attributes, like what do they look like, blah, blah, blah. But then it delves into a little bit more, like, who raised you, who raised you, you know, were you raised by your parents, like, you know, what do your parents do, are they alive, are they dead, you know, all of that kind of stuff that just kind of helps you build your character. Oh, thank you, Press X, for awesome. It's wonderful having you as a subscriber. Thank you. But yeah, so I tend to give... Hi, Tape Player. It's wonderful having you here. Yeah, no, you're not the only one. One of the players in this game, Valcor, I think they have killed almost every lot of parents that they tend to have. Yeah, it is a pretty common thing that parents, they don't survive D&D games or Disney, apparently. Personally, for my own characters, the Grung character, we didn't really talk about what happened to her parents. I think the headcanon is that she burnt them alive. Yes, middle-aged characters. I tend to play 20-somethings, usually, around that area. But yes, my Grung character, to be fair, the game itself started out as a one-shot joke. So I'm like, yeah, we all have to be Grung, cool. What can I do with that? You know what? Why not? Wild magic sorcerer. And then the other players and the DM are like, hey, let's turn this into a campaign. So all of a sudden my joke character has become a serious character. And I'm like, this is a thing that's now happening. Well, you would think that, but we may or may not have accidentally killed the rest of our clan. It was a thing. Unfortunately, we end up killing a lot of things. It is a very pop culture heavy game. We have killed a lot of horses recently. It wasn't deliberate. We joke that the DM probably doesn't like horses all that much. But yeah, we don't take this game, like, we don't play this game to be particularly heavily serious. I think the party at the moment is made up of, we have a barbarian, who cannot turn their rage off. Yeah, they can't turn their rage off. We have a rogue who's not great at lockpicking and things like this, so he has a set of lockpicks that very loudly are teaching him how to be a better thief. I'm sure you can see how that's probably working out. My wild magic sorcerer rolls wild on a 5, 10, 15 and a 20. So that's fun. We have a ranger who has bad eyesight. So I'm sure you can see that it is just a really fun tongue-in-cheek game. Yes. Basically, they very loudly teach him how to pick locks and things. So his stealth is shot. And it's great. I think we're at this stage we've fought Necrons, which is obviously I believe a Warhammer reference interjected in there. We survived Egrup Day, Purge Day. Yeah, we're doing well. We're doing great. Yeah, we did. But now we started this campaign by starting a plague. My character might have ET finger touched with somebody, and because Grung are obviously poisonous, poisoned them. Yeah, did that. That was a thing I did. So yeah, that's yeah, basically. Yes, we did come out alive. We kind of just ran away. We didn't really deal with it. So I'm assuming we're all going to die at some point. It just hasn't happened yet. We don't play the grung either, that they have to be wet all the time. We play them that they are just more susceptible to fire damage, basically. So if we face off against fire, there is a higher likelihood that we are going to be burned alive, which of course makes perfect sense then that my wild magic sorcerer took mostly fire spells. Yeah, that's a thing that I did. what though? I bet you it is a fun time. I mean, hanging around in my stream means you'll hear a lot of my opinions as a DM on the way that I at least run my rules. Yes, the way that I run my rules, which tends to be, you know, as I said earlier, I still run with the racial modifiers and things like that. I also believe in, you know, consequences, as in your characters do something in the world and the world is going to push back. You know, you can't just go into town and attack the town guards and not expect some kind of repercussions for that, you know, act. So yeah, that tends to be like how I rule those kind of things. But obviously I very much believe that, you know, it is a collaborative storytelling effort. It's not the players versus the DM, because the DM, you know, is also there to have fun, and it's not ridiculously fun for me, at least, as a DM, to just absolutely hammer them to the point that there is no hope they can win. You know, to a certain degree, the deck is stacked against the players when, you know, because the DM basically makes the rules. That being said, I also don't like, in my particular settings, I heavily discourage min-maxing or power gaming or optimizing, because, you know, while I appreciate that everyone wants to play a really cool character and everything like this, I also like it when people want to play characters with flaws. Like, you know, it's great that your character is absolutely brilliant at everything, and I agree with that. And, you know, I am a big believer that pretty much all D&D characters are Mary Sues, because they have to be. That is the very essence and nature of being a player character. You are literally better than average. You are better than the average Joe down the street. Oh yeah, you'd be surprised at what players have put in my games. And some of them I question why, like, why have you done this? And a lot of the time the answer is, why not? That's not an answer, man. Like, what am I supposed to do with why not? Yeah, I do agree that it allows you to do dumb shit in combat and have the chance to come out alive. The difference is in the way that I kind of run my campaigns. First of all, my players do have a tendency to talk themselves out of combat. I'm not a very combat heavy DM. I am getting better at throwing random combat their way as well, though. Yeah, obviously, like, I apologize for the ads. Yes, I apologize for the ads. Twitch gets to this point where when you become an affiliate, that they put ads on your stuff. So I will Just wait momentarily so you can hear me, JME. See, the problem is I don't know how long the ads go for either, so... But yes, so I apologise for the ads. Yeah, so as I was saying, I leave a lot of room for my players to basically, within reason, do whatever they want. So, like I said before, I've allowed players to create C4 in my game. I put it in there, I can't then punish them for actually doing it and using it. Because, yeah, I'm the one that gave them the capability to, hey, yeah, this is a list of ingredients or whatever you can do to make certain things. So I can't then punish them by going, oh, I don't want you to use this. And I will admit, almost all players, myself included, don't want to play a character who's crap at everything either. So I do understand that a level of optimization is okay, and for some people that is legitimately how they enjoy the campaign and how they play, and that is absolutely fine. As a general rule, I like it if a player has flaws, you know, that like the character has flaws that they have to work on, that they, you know, not everything is always perfect, that, yeah, they might have trained, you know, however many hours a day with a sword, but yeah, they might have trained however many hours a day with a sword, but that doesn't automatically mean that they're never going to have a bad day, which is, you know, how you explain the dice rolls and stuff. So we will do a final save on this map. Yeah, the only time I really have a major issue with min-maxing or optimizing or those kind of things is when it literally means that one player is better than everybody else at the table. Like, I can understand how it's fun if everybody in the group collectively comes together to create powerful characters. But if it's only one guy, like I've seen it that if it's literally just one guy who is literally good at everything, like, at the end of the day, like, you're not a one-man band, it's a collaborative effort, so... Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like, I don't mind if my players want to play characters who are good at what they fucking do. You know, it's more the fact of what I would prefer my players to do is build the character you want to play, but make sure it makes sense in their backstory, why they know what they know. As long as you can justify it in a storytelling way, you know, I'm not going to turn around and say no. I do let players play homebrewed stuff or third-party stuff, but it does come with the caveat that assume that if you are playing something that's not standard Wizards of the Coast, even with some of the Wizards of the Coast stuff, it is a playtest. So if something's not working for whatever reason, you know, between myself and the player, we have the ability to change things. See, it's a bit harder to fudge rolls when you're a player and on like Roll20 and things like that, because it's a very visible roll. So it's a bit harder to do that. But at the same time, you know, I also run with the caveat that it's just a game, man. Like, we're all adults here. Talk amongst yourselves if you want, like, you know, if they are open to being like, hey, you know, we can change your bonuses quietly. Hey, I've had players who have, because I get my players to roll for stats, we roll with the 4d6 d1, unless they are playing like demigod kind of characters, in which then I allow 5d6 d2 to give them, you know, a good thing. Yeah, and like, I don't want players to be punished for being really good, and, you know, some players punished for deciding to, you know, take that dump in wisdom, like as their dump stat or whatever. But I do get my players to roll for their stats, and I let them place, obviously, their stats wherever they would like to put them. The only caveat is in letting them roll. Yeah, but the characters in question for that game had found out that they're basically... they essentially had a seed of divinity inside each of them, that they were potentially demigods. So it made sense that their characters were more powerful than the average human being, you know, and that was fine, because, you know, as the DM, yeah, as the DM, they were also fighting against people who were kind of like them. So the only caveat I do have with rolling for stats is we have since put in a rule that so I let them roll twice for 2 sets of stats, and they have to pick one or the other. They can't like pick and choose from the 2 sets. They have to pick one set or the other set. The only other thing is they have to be a minimum of 71 points. So, you know, that still leaves room for there to be like a really good stat and a really bad stat. But I have had a player who has consistently rolled really badly on their stats, like I think 13 rolls or something, and they rolled trash. Absolute trash. You know, and they were fine playing a slightly, you know, not as experienced character and things like that, and that was fine. But I'm like, yeah, but you still want to be like feasibly within the same kind of range as the rest of the group. That doesn't mean that there aren't people who skew on the higher end of that. It just means that the minimum they have to have is 71. Yeah, if they have an average kind of situation, you know, and that still leaves room for them to have a 6 in something, or an 8 in something, you know, and an 18 in something else. So, yeah. Well, and this is the thing, just because they don't necessarily end up with an average of 12 across the board. Like, I think it's been like an 18, a 16, there might have been an 8 in there, and just, yeah. But yes, for a minimum of 71, just so everybody at least has a kind of like baseline bottom level that they have to at least achieve. I do allow also that when they do their level ups, they can either take the average for their hit points or they can roll for them. I don't mind. It's up to them what they want to do. I don't have one rule across the board. It's personal preference. And yeah, so for a really good proponent of it, I kind of let my players kind of do what they want within reason. You know, obviously, as I've said before, if they have a really cool concept that they want to achieve, like I've got a lot of stuff and they've got a lot of stuff, they can come to me with those, like, oh, I want to play this particular like subclass or whatever I found. I'll have a look at it, be like, oh, well, yeah, that works, or that doesn't work, or yeah, I'm fine with that. But obviously it does come under that caveat that it is a playtest. So if for whatever reason something's not working, we tweak it, you know? Yeah, pretty much. A lot of my players end up taking the average, but yeah, if they roll a 1, they roll a 1. That's the way it is, unfortunately. That's the luck of the dice. I do let them decide. If they roll really crap, I do let them still change their mind and take the average instead if they'd like. So, but, and you know, there are some chaotic players who are out there who are like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's see what I get kind of thing. So, but on that note, it is a little bit of a shorter stream on the Wednesday morning, so thank you to everybody who has tuned in to watch and all that kind of stuff. Thank you to everybody who has followed. Thank you to our new subscribers and things like that. It is wonderful having you here. Yeah, I can appreciate that, JME. Monsters be wild and, you know, they swole. So... But yes, thank you to everyone who tuned in to watch. I will be back again around this time again, just playing some Silent Word. It's a beautiful Xbox game that is storytelling within a story. Otherwise, I will see you again on Saturday night, should I say, which is about 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. You can see all of those things down in my About section or down in my schedule. That will tell you when I am streaming and whatnot. If you follow my channel, turn on your notifications and you will get a notification when I go live. Otherwise, follow me on my Twitter, which is Boomeadow. You can find those links down in my About section down below. Otherwise, I will see you all later, and it is wonderful to have you here. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening or night, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you again soon.
Is everybody in the groove?
Talk to you later.
Well, stick around.
Bye.
We're just warming up, baby.